Good late evening, YouTube. This is Ty, Metalhead Weatherman. I hope you guys have had a good Wednesday. We're about halfway through the week already. Seems like it's gone by really quick. Starting to get towards that time of year where things are getting warm for a lot of us. Still some cold air lingering around for some of us. Still some snow lingering around from other people, but that's how it goes during the springtime, the transitional period. Before I get into the video tonight, because there is a bit to talk about here, it's the same thing. I'm really trying to build this channel. Appreciate it if you share, spread the word. Also, to anyone that is not subbed to this channel but has been watching, what are you waiting for? Especially if you keep coming back to watch it. What's stopping you? It's free. Come on. And this will always be free as long as YouTube allows it to be free. But that being said, let's get into it here. So, our nor'easter's pretty much moved out now. So, we're talking about the ongoing severe weather threat. And if we go back a little bit here on this page, you can see that there's a lot of activity. The next 4 days, there's some type of severe risk, including tonight. We'll go into tonight and Thursday's risk. We'll talk about Friday and Saturday a little bit more. I'm particularly interested in Friday, but we'll do that video tomorrow. In the meantime, though, we'll talk about the marginal risk and why it was downgraded from a slight risk to marginal. And then we'll look at tomorrow's threat. So let's take a look at the marginal risk. And I'm actually going to show this to you on the models here so that way you can get an idea instead of me just trying to say this in spoken word. So our threat, so keep this in mind here. It's a little bit of weather 101 here, especially severe weather 101. So our threat areas: eastern Oklahoma, southeastern Kansas, and southwestern Missouri. This includes Springfield, Tulsa, Norman, and Oklahoma City. You're now out of this threat area, and then it stretches all the way towards the Oklahoma-Texas border. You see a small portion of northwestern there, Arkansas in there as well. Tornado threat minimal, wind threat minimal, hail threat minimal as well. We'll go into that. We'll go into the details of that later, and then we will take a look at day 2. What in the world? I was about to say. That was weird. But day 2, we are back up to a slight risk, and we have a slightly greater tornado threat. We have a 5% tornado threat, mainly focused around central Kansas and the far northern tiers of Oklahoma. And then there's a 2% chance of a tornado threat that goes all the way into the panhandle of Texas and stretches into central Kansas. Wind threat, it's widespread, but it's 5%. The trend with this system has really been hail, and they even have a hatch risk area now. I think I talked about this briefly yesterday about there being a significant hail threat with hail greater than 2 inches in diameter. And there we have it in central Kansas. This is how you know I'm tired, guys. It's been a long day. I didn't get home until about an hour ago, and I had to eat something else. I felt like I was halfway dying. But yeah, this is our 15%. This is our 15% area. Stretches all the way into Nebraska, even, which is pretty crazy. You're just it's Lincoln. You're just north of the line. And then it stretches back into the northern tier of Oklahoma, what do you know? And then it just pretty much, then the 5% encompasses the entire marginal risk. So I was interested in this this day. I was thinking that there was going to be a high hail threat, and lo and behold, here we are. I wouldn't even be surprised if this may even get a slight push towards a enhanced risk. I won't rule it out. It seems unlikely to me, but we'll know by tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. So we'll look at day 3 here. And day 3 is another day I'm really interested in. It's kind of unclear what the main hazard is going to be. I think all of them are possible, but I'm kind of leaning towards a hail and straight line wind threat. Maybe a few tornadoes, but it's kind of hard to say right now. like I said, we'll take a look at that a lot more closely tomorrow. We might be within range of the HRRR and the NAM at that point, so it'll make things a lot easier. So it's a very large area. This one I'm not so sure about there being an enhanced risk on, because I don't see any area in particular that's really standing out amongst the slight risk area. But we talked about it yesterday. This includes South Dakota even, which is crazy. You normally don't see severe weather around there until about June, July. But here we are in good old April, and here we are. More storm with some severe weather possible there. It's crazy. And it's a slight risk, no less. It's crazy. So this goes all the way into South Texas and even into some parts of New Mexico, which is kind of crazy too. But we'll talk about that more later. A lot of the same areas that I spoke about yesterday are still in there. Omaha's just on the line. Lincoln, you're in it. Garden City, Liberal, Woodward, etc. Amarillo, you're in there as well. McCook, Valentine, Sioux Falls. So we'll look at day 4 real quick. And you can see there is another 15% risk. That is for Saturday. So we'll have to be on the lookout in areas like Wichita, Kansas, Kansas City, Missouri, Omaha, Nebraska, Des Moines, Iowa, and pretty much all of central Iowa. There's a slight risk of severe weather, definitely lending itself towards mostly a hail threat, but there's not a lot of details available for me. But it seems like this could be confined to a slightly more narrow corridor, but we'll have to look and see how this progresses over the coming days. Days 5 and 6 are predictability too low. So there is a chance for severe weather, but there is not a lot of confidence as to where and how it will happen. And day 7 and 8, the potential are too low. So it looks like we're starting to get into a pattern here where severe weather is going to become a little bit more limited, which is great news. A lot of areas have been hit really hard this spring so far. We're not done with severe weather, but it looks like we may get a little bit of a break here for a bit. So now we've gone over that, let's actually look at the next couple of days in particular. Since pretty much all of this is going to be in the Central Plains, we're going to just look through these models, get a look at what the parameters look like, and then I'm going to talk about why we have gone down to a marginal risk in eastern Oklahoma today. So we're going to just kind of zoom through this here. We're going to look at the temperature map here. With there being severe weather, if you've been on the channel long enough, you see how this tends to unfold. Around the area of interest, you'll see a surge in temperatures, and then, of course, into the overnight, they drop, but then they'll just pick right back up. It's usually the same with the dew points. So you can clearly see that the temperatures aren't very high around here. And that's an important part of severe weather as well. We do get a pretty good surge around here, but it's limited in nature as well. We look through Friday. Look at how far north this pushes. Some areas even get into the 90s, which is absolutely insane. So now that we know that temperatures are going to be more than sufficient, because really you want to look for about at least 65 to 70 degrees for severe weather. 65 is usually about the minimum. You can get severe weather at colder temperatures, but it's a lot more rare. You see, the cold core setup doesn't really happen often in spring. It tends to happen more during the fall or winter. So let's get into the dew points here. We're looking for 60s, 70 degree dew points here, because that just lets you know how moist the air actually is. Once you get about past 55, definitely getting into the 60s here, that really suggests a lot of available moisture in the air. Wow, I kind of screwed that up. But that is kind of an idea of how much moisture is available in the air. And thunderstorms feed off moisture, as we all know. And look at how far this surge of moisture that's coming from the Gulf, how far north this goes. This goes all the way into maybe even North Dakota, which is insane. like these 60s and 70s kind of plateau around Oklahoma, and then late into Thursday night, that's when we see them go into Kansas, and it really just keeps pushing north from that point. So, and even into Saturday, that's going to be an area of interest. I think it might be a little bit further to the east, but it's going to be interesting to see how that all unfolds. So, I'm going to sneak off to that. We're going to look at the low-level jet and the Cape, and then we're going to go into detail with the reflectivity map, and then we're going to actually talk about how and why we aren't getting severe weather right now, because it's actually a very simple answer, even though a lot of people don't really think about it. So here's our low-level jet. Not really a lot to work with here, so this also plays a key part in limiting the severe weather around here. But look around Kansas. Hang on, I'm gonna pause it here actually. Oops. So if we look at Kansas, we do get a little bit of a surge here where we could have some 40, 50 knot low-level jet around here, and then we're still kind of hanging around the 30s and 40s for most of central Kansas. More than sufficient enough for some severe weather into the late evening and overnight hours. We'll have to watch this pretty close. So it's going to be interesting how this unfolds tomorrow. So let's go forward and go into Friday and look at how this really starts to route by the early morning hours on Friday. We've gone from a 30 to 40, maybe even 50 mile per hour jet. We're starting to peak into the 60s early in the day. And this only continues to pick up in intensity from the looks of it as we get later into the evening hours on Friday. Look at that. Look at that. We're getting towards the 60s and some 70s. The timing of these storms is going to be important. I do think that there might be an early round of storms. But if we get a late evening round of storms with this could be interesting. This could have a bit more of a greater tornado threat. I do honestly think that this will be a straight line damaging wind threat on Friday. And I just thought about it. I really said I wasn't going to talk about Friday, but we were within range, so I figured why not. We'll kind of go over it again tomorrow, but we'll touch on it a little bit more briefly. So I'm interested to see the timing of these storms. We'll figure that out with the reflectivity in a moment. Now, one thing that I don't have any questions about is the amount of CAPE that's available in the atmosphere around this region. I think that there's going to be plenty of CAPE available, but I will tell you the missing component in a moment once we get to the reflectivity map. So take a look at all the CAPE that we have available around here. We have some values already pushing towards 1,500, 2,000. Then look around Thursday night into early Friday morning. Look at how high these CAPE values are. We're sitting at 2,000, some places maybe even 3,000 joules per kilogram. Keep in mind, to get a thunderstorm, you only need 500 joules per kilogram most of the time. Maybe even less than that. To get severe weather, you really want it to be around 750. We're almost, tripling, quadrupling that in some places. So I'm relatively confident there's going to be severe weather in central Kansas tomorrow. I don't see any reason why there wouldn't be. Now, we move this forward, and this is what leads me to think that the severe weather is going to be a late evening threat, just simply because the amount of CAPE available. And look how high these values are in South Dakota in April. That's crazy. We're sitting at almost 4,000 joules a kilogram in South Dakota in April. Absolutely insane to think about. Excuse me. So we'll watch this move further. We'll progress this a little bit further. And these values don't only seem to stick around even into the overnight here. So I do think that there will be a line of thunderstorms that pops up late into the evening. I do think that any storms that are out ahead of the line may have a chance of rotating. A lot of it's going to depend on how how this all unfolds. I do think that, for the most part, I think damaging straight line winds and large hail are the primary threats. Tornado threat is definitely not zero, though. Let me say that right now. Let me clarify it. So I'm actually going to take a look at the national view, simply because this will give us the best idea as to what lies ahead, all these short-range storm systems that we have, and then I'll talk about the weather in the rest of the country as well. So here is the reason why we are not getting severe weather tonight around Oklahoma City, or at least not nearly to the extent that we were originally thinking. So this is our threat area right here, and this is our upper level low. So if we look, the low level jet, it's there, but it's not very strong. We have CAPE values over there. Not very impressive ones, but we do have CAPE available. So there's energy. There's moisture. We looked at the dew points. We were sitting at about 60. But in order to get thunderstorms, you need buoyancy, you need lift. These thunderstorms just don't rise up on their own. You need some kind of upper level forcing, and this low is it. And look how far away that low is. This low is still sitting back in New Mexico and Colorado, hanging around the Four Corners region. You're not going to get too much convection and upper level forcing from this when it's this far back and your storms are expected right here. So that's why the National Weather Service and Storm Prediction Center went down from a slight risk to a marginal risk. However, the other parameters are sufficient enough to where if there was a storm that would find a way to pop up here, there's a good chance it could become a supercell. But the chance is so low, and there's so little confidence that you can't really stick with a slight risk. So it's easy for them. So it's easy for me to see why they would do it. Now that I've gone on about that, let's move forward here. This low kind of hangs around. It doesn't really move anywhere. And then here's how we kind of get a little bit of here's how we get our severe weather tomorrow. It's still kind of far. It's still kind of far away, but conditions are a little bit better suited around this area by tomorrow evening. So our lows hanging around Colorado and Wyoming, particularly I'm guessing that's Colorado. Jeez, I'm tired. This is Wyoming. Jeez, I cannot get anything right now. But you can see that our upper level low is a little bit closer, and you can see as a result we get some storms to pop up here. Even take a look at the sounding briefly for this. I do think, wow, this actually is not really giving me much anything. Oh, that's because these storms are in Nebraska, not. Yeah, that's a weird look on the NAM here. So there we go. That's a little bit more sufficient. So it's kind of a weird look here, but it's definitely also it looks to be a capping inversion possibly right around here. But this kind of has a slight little curve to it, but it's more of a linear shape as well. So I think the main threat is going to be wind with this storm. It's definitely looking like severe threat is likely here though. Dew points aren't impressive, and neither are the temperatures, so it's kind of perplexing. Maybe this is forming right near. I'm thinking that this forms right near a dry line, and I think that's going to be an inhibiting factor as well. Or there just isn't enough moisture shooting this far north. The NAM is kind of showing a weird look, but I can't really look this far out on the HRRR, or can I? It is about 10 o'clock. Oh no, they're doing 18 hours, so I can't pull that. Wait, yes I can. I can go back a model. So let's take a look here. Let's see what the HRRR is showing me. Because, wait. Oh, there it is. Alright, we're just waiting for this to load. So we're going to about 21 hours out. There are some storms that form here, but they aren't really, it's kind of the same thing as the NAM. It's kind of showing something weird. There's a little bit more activity, it looks like, to the north of Kansas. So it'll be interesting to see what this latest model run and how this little model run will influence the outlook area for tomorrow. I think there might be some changes in store, or this might be a bogus model run, who knows. But also, while I look, you have a little shortwave system that's bringing snow into the western half of the country, especially past the Sierras. Get scattered snow showers in the northwest, mostly in the higher elevations. And then as this low moves off on the backside, there is a little swath of rain and snow, mostly still going to be around the higher elevations, unless you're in Montana. If you're in Montana, especially southwestern Montana, you might get a period of moderate, maybe even a cheeky period of heavy snow, but that's nothing new for you guys. It's just the same old kind of deal. Same thing with you guys in the Rockies. Up north towards Canada, you guys are getting clobbered. Meanwhile, I'm trying to go back into Friday here. It doesn't seem like the HRRR or the NAM was really picking up on anything for Friday, which is really confusing. Or maybe it's going to be this line here that forms later. But that's really about the end of my model run here. There's a little bit of uncertainty. I still have a little bit of uncertainty about Friday. I do think there's definitely going to be severe weather. The parameters are all there. But we're just so far out, it's kind of hard to tell. It's kind of hard to say what's going to happen right now. But that's all I got for you guys. I'm sorry I kind of went back and forth on this video. It's been a long week. Pretty tired. But hopefully you guys have a good night. I will see you tomorrow. This has been Tire Metalhead Weatherman. Have a good night.